Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. Y'all like the content I've been dropping, direction that my channel was headed in. I need you to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos with anybody else you think may benefit from them, alright? Now, today's topic is actually coming from a conversation that I recently had with my brother, and we were discussing the importance of intentionality. So the video topic is going to be why it is important to be intentional in all that you do. He and I were basically giving each other flowers for being the men in our family who have really broken away from the traditional way of doing things. We took the path less traveled, and due to those decisions that we made when we were younger, we now find ourselves being the ones who are the furthest away from where we grew up and flourishing in our own different ways. So I wanted to talk about that. Why is it important to be so intentional? First of all, I feel like it adds fire to whatever mission you're on, because now you're personally accountable. I have a journal that I write in every single day where I basically list out all that I'm getting done. It always gives me a solid way of being able to reflect back on any particular day to pinpoint not only where I was as far as like how much I've accomplished, but I can also have a nostalgic feeling of looking back at those times, especially when so much has taken place since then. So for example, October 18th of last year, I can tell you exactly what I was doing, but in all those pages that I have to flip through to get back to October 18th, I see in between how many times I, for example, woke up, hit the gym, how many times I made my bed. Something as simple as that, I write every single day. Woke up, shaved, made my bed, this, that, the third. So if you were to thumb through those pages, you would see, hey, every day I woke up, made my bed. I worked out so and so many times. I read so and so many books, so on and so forth, right? And in the very beginning of my journal, I also have what I expect from the universe, which is basically to become a millionaire by the 1st of December 2030. Underneath that declaration to myself, I have things that I'm going to do consistently in order to make that a reality. That's being, in my opinion, very intentional, because I've basically created a contract with myself on how I'm going to achieve a monumental goal. And I think we can all agree that reaching $1 million net worth is something that most people fantasize about but don't have any type of tangible way of getting to. It's a huge milestone in anyone's life, and there are habits and abilities that you develop on your way to becoming a millionaire that actually make the journey or the path so much more fulfilling, because it's not necessarily about what you have in the end, it's who you became on your way. So that's one example of what I mean when I say it adds fire to your mission by making you more accountable. Secondly, why it's important to be intentional in all that you do. It will separate you from the drones. Okay, so we're in a very interesting time. It's 2025. I've said in numerous other videos that I feel like technology is surpassing human endeavor and development in mass, and it's separating the rich or have-nots or the intellectually charged people, those who wake up with a sense of purpose and discipline and are intentional, versus the masses of people who are just content to flounder in their life, just looking for the next hit of dopamine to be entertained. So when you have the mindset that you're going to be intentional in everything you do, you're definitely going to move with a sense of purpose. And this will automatically put you in a different class than those people who are around you that don't have that same mindset. It's no slight at them, because no person is better than another in the grand scheme. But if you look at who will contribute more, or who will reach their goals faster, or who will be more, let's say, content when it's all said and done, it will always be the person that is moving with a sense of purpose towards what they want, and they have some type of aim, not only for their life, but for the day. The third reason why I would say it's very important to be intentional in all that you do. Hands down, it will bring out peak performance. So, one of the aims that I have in being intentional, right? Like, I'm contracting. So I'm away from my wife. I'm working 6 days a week. It's an hour to and from where I do my business. A very physically demanding atmosphere. And on top of that, it's an austere environment if you look at how hot it is being in the Middle East and Kuwait, right on the Gulf. Definitely a job that many people would look at the pay and say great, but when you look at how it can wear you down physically, mentally, even emotionally, in terms of your relationship, it's not something that the average person would really be able to maintain. But what's my intention of coming out here? I have all of that listed out. So every day, once again, I'm waking up with fire in my chest, but there's peak performance that I reach because I'm looking at leveling up across the board and making the absence away from my family, friends, and of course my wife at the top of the list. It gives me more personal gusto to attack the day, carpe diem, seize all opportunities, and really keep my eye on the compass of me navigating this opportunity to maximize everything so that it's worth it, the sacrifice I made to come out, if you get what I mean. So that's across the board. I told myself I want to work out 3 times a week, right? But I work 6 days a week, and I noticed that when I go to work and I don't hit the gym or do any type of physical activity beforehand, I feel sluggish throughout the day. So instead of me working out 3 times a week, it's actually became more like 6. So, for example, I'm way above where I should be for reaching my quota of 156 times a year, just because I'm intentional of me being in this contracting environment where the gym is right down on the hotel lobby and I live on the 9th floor. It's so easy for me to wake up, already have my shoes laid out, go to sleep with my gym uniform, and make it into a habit where my body is looking forward to workout every morning. Everyone else is still asleep. I'm down in the gym getting some blood pumping. So, of course, when I come to work, I have peak performance already, just for the simple fact that I decided to do something that the average person would not want to do. Reason number 4 why it's important to be intentional in all that you do. It gives you a framework and a structure to all of your tasks. So I liken this to a canvas that you want to maybe draw on, and you create a beautiful border before you actually get started on the painting itself or the drawing itself. It just gives you a boundary to work within. And if we go to the idea of it being a painting and you drawing a captivating border around it, it automatically just makes the painting look so much nicer because you've added some type of framework by which you can now start to add on top of. So, for example, when you have a sense of purpose, take another instance where every day I come into work. Let's say I'm a waiter at a restaurant, and my aim is to network and be friendly and then spark up a conversation with at least 3 strangers, whether they be people that I'm serving or people that just come in or new employees who are working with me in the restaurant. You get my drift, right? I now have a framework of being more communicative and friendly and being able to open up a dialogue with everybody because I've given myself the quota of at least 3 people. So automatically when I come into work, if I maybe have a bad attitude, just that internal gauge that I have on what I need to accomplish that day being placed on me, I'm more inclined to make sure that I'm in a good mood. Right? It's not to say I wouldn't do that automatically, but with the added pressure of, oh, I need to talk to at least 3 people and maybe spark up a conversation, give a compliment, what have you, I'm definitely going to have a framework by which I operate in that environment as a waiter. The 5th reason why I say it's important to be intentional in all that you do: it builds up the velocity of what the universe is bringing to you because of the law of action. Okay? This is not written down as a opinion of mine. Okay? When I say this, I really truly just see it everywhere. Even when you look at success stories, anyone who has made it to some monumental level of success, I think what they all have in common is that they internalize the law of action and they work hard for what they want. And the result that they get, I literally feel, is directly synonymous with what they attain. There's a correlation between the work you put in and the blessings that the universe gives you. There are no shortcuts to anything that's worth having. So it can go in any direction you want to take it. Let's say you have a relationship. You being intentional about making sure that your wife knows that you love her, making sure that you treat her respectfully, making sure that you have integrity so that even when she's not around, you're not entertaining other women or doing anything that will cause a rift in what you guys are building. It will build up the velocity of even her feelings towards you. Her emotional tie will become more solidified with you because your presence will be felt as a man who is very rare and that she's lucky to have on her arm, because you're moving once again with intentionality in the relationship. You have visions of where you're going to be with this woman as she sticks by your side, and she's happy to know, damn, the dude on my side is so different from the other males that are around because he's the captain of a ship and I'm excited about where we're headed. That's an example that I could freestyle off the top, but I hope you get the drift. Another reason why it's important to be intentional in all that you do: by default, it just increases the likelihood of success. Win, lose, or draw, whatever you're setting out to do, whether it be, hey, I want to get this certificate so that I'm more marketable for whatever profession, or hey, I want to get my bachelor's degree, I want to do this, I want to do that, oh, I want to start my first business, whatever it is. You have a high likelihood of success when you come in already being intentional. You know, I feel like the universe responds the most to people who have clear, realistic aims that they're going for. Not just going for like talking about it, thinking about it, and daydreaming about it, but by, once again, what I just said with the law of action, every day plugging away. It doesn't matter how small the step is towards your destination, so long as you're constantly moving forward and your trajectory is always toward what that is that you want to accomplish. So even if you fail, did you really fail? If you've learned a lot on the way, you've actually picked up different skills and attributes. Let's say you gained a lot of knowledge that you wouldn't have even came across had you decided to just float around whatever idea it was. Like, you really aren't failing, even if you fail, if you guys get what I mean. You just increase the likelihood of succeeding in whatever you do when you come in being intentional. Another reason, okay? It boosts confidence because the sense of achievement that you get was personally crafted by your own self. In a world that's drowning in distractions and constantly pulling your attention from your inner, you being intentional in everything you do automatically locks you into alignment with your higher self, because you're going to need everything from your inner in order to have the motivation, the gusto, the power to achieve something that you set out to do. And along the way, you get those real dopamine hits that mean something. When you decide, for example, to sign up for, I don't know, an online course, right? And let's say it's 6 weeks long, and you've already gotten through week 3. And maybe you have a test that you got to take on Thursday. I'm just throwing stuff out. You have to take a test on Thursday, right? And you're going through the sacrifice of maybe staying up a little bit later so that you can go over these concepts that you're a little bit weak on, right? And then now you take the test and maybe you pass with an 87%. Cool. You missed a little bit. You might be thinking, dang, what did I miss? Whatever. But knowing that you're headed towards something, knowing that you're getting closer to that 6 week threshold, and then actually in the end having a certificate to show that you work for something, that high, that dopamine rush, in my opinion, is so much more worthwhile because it has to do with delayed gratification. And you can only go through periods of delayed gratification when you're intentional and you set out on day 1 to make it to week 6. And all the stuff that's in between, you're willing to go through in order to make it to that end game. Very powerful in a day and age where so many people can't even focus longer than a goldfish on anything at length. Okay. Another reason why it's important to be intentional in all that you do. Okay. It gives you a mindset, and it also builds up a track record that can be applied to everything else. And this is one of the reasons why I talk about the importance of joining the military. If you're a young man that doesn't have much direction, when you join the military and go through all these things, especially if you're a high achiever, you're coming in with gusto, you really want to be the best. When you get out of the military, chances are fitness will be already incorporated into your mindset. Chances are you'll know how far you've gone, how hard it was to maybe go on this ruck march and how you got through it. And that will carry you forward when you're doing something else that's not even military related. So this becomes something that goes with you no matter where you are. And it's a skill or ability or a trait that you've picked up that is easily transferable to any other thing that you do in life. You see what I mean? Like, that's the reason why I am a very big advocate for physical fitness, because you cannot separate the mind, body, and spirit. They're all connected. So the people who want to be, let's say, a bookworm, but don't ever work on their body, they're suffering in some way, shape, or form. The guy who always just works out, but never takes a moment to strengthen his mind, he suffers also. The best combination would be somebody who is, let's say, a bookworm, but uses that same ferocity to learn new things in the realm of getting their body in shape so that they can be an optimal person on their own level. Same thing with the guy who's always into fitness but never picks up a book or never takes a challenging course. He's suffering across the board until he actually starts to strengthen his mind the same as he does his physical body. Okay. Now, reason number 9 why it is important to be intentional in all that you do. It simply hones and refines your leadership skills. Because once again, this is a self-proclaimed thing that you're doing every single time you step into a new arena. You will automatically come off as a leader when you have a personal code of conduct that's guiding everything that you want to accomplish. Because trust me, most people don't. They just simply show up. Like in the military, there was a term that we used to say for somebody who's like an NPC, Like, and it was, you're just 98.6 and breathing. Like, you're just a body. You're just a hunk of flesh, you know, like you're 98.6 degrees cool, and then you're just breathing also cool. You're just average. You're not a person who's going to come in and like blaze a trail or do anything memorable. You're just going to maybe accomplish the standard, but not to the highest that you can. You know, if you're only supposed to do 35 push-ups, you're a person who will do 35 and just get up. Like, you're not going to push yourself. You're not going to do anything that would separate you from the crowd, as I talked about earlier. So that's a person that's not moving with intentionality. So they won't seem like a very viable option when people are considering who should be a leader in some capacity, right? And last but not least, okay, when you're intentional in all that you do, you will have an overall fulfillment. And once again, like, you will seriously have no regrets once it's time for you to finish what you stepped into, or whenever you pivot and decide to change directions. You can close every chapter fully content, knowing that you gave it your all and you had some type of aim that guided all of your behavior and action while you were in that particular field or job or what have you. So I'm going to end on this note. Be intentional in everything that you do.